scrape the bottom of the sea, take what I want and chuck the rest in. That's kind of how it reminds me. There's only a few fish take it to the top.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, every industry is probably the same. Like, I mean, I'm just talking from experience from comics. So I'd say it's in the music industry, it's in the film industry. You think of the creative industry, it's probably all as bloodthirsty as this, but it's just that I have the experience in comics, you know. And I mean, I'm not trying to put people off. Ultimately, my sentiment would be, if you want to create stuff, create it. Get out there and make it and do it for yourself. And if you get picked up, I mean, Sarah Scribbles, for instance, I'm sure she started off as a small independent blog, was putting her stuff out there and maybe gained traction over social media, etc. over the years. That's amazing. Hats off to people like that. I think that's truly superb because she's managed to monetize her skill and turn it into her skill and her passion and turn it into a way to survive. I think that's amazing, but it's very, very few. And if you were to go into comics directly and try and do it directly, I'd say it's a gamble. So most writers, most artists, etc., and we're all working two jobs. Yeah.
The AI thing as well. A lot of actors are now starting to copyright their own.
Yeah. And there's a massive kick up about it in the art world as well, because you know there's Hayao Miyazaki. I saw his stuff was being appropriated. You know, you can make like your flipping Facebook profile using his his style, which is just not okay. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, what are you doing? This is somebody else's art style and you just appropriated it. But you know, this is the dangers of AI, and I don't know how you turn that back. I don't think we can. I think we're just gonna have to, be wary of it going forward, really, because there's no way to undo it. There are people out there who are going to use it, and it's just going to be a part of our life, you know. So you just gotta support artists where you can. Look at it and say, oh well, there's a friend of mine who's brilliant art, you know, buy some of that work or whatever. Where you see stuff like that, I always just go, you know, I don't block the people or whatever. I just go, I'm just going to go with that. You know?
No, cheers everybody else.
I'm sorry guys, I'm
a nice note to finish on.
I think from my point of view, from having worked with Mark, the message is there are people who want to do it, and there are people who want to do it here, and people who are doing it themselves, and that there is going to be a future for comics, and maybe it's not going to be the corporate future that we all thought it was going to be.
I don't think it's.
It's going to be a different thing, and it'll be hopefully people like Andrew and Bob and to a lesser extent myself will just do it ourselves, and it'll be good.
Well, yeah, if you can take anything from this, from my bitter corporate experience, it's that, you know, the real art, and, you know, I've met guys like Kevin Eastman, and, I had dinner with him one time, and this was a guy who was very inspiring story. Kevin's mad, but, him and Peter Lard had this tiny little apartment called the Pizza Place, and they were making these comics and self-publishing them themselves, and it's just a massive fluke that, you know, they became as popular as they did. Something about them caught the zeitgeist, and at the same time as they were doing that, you had guys like Dave Sim doing Cerebus, and, you know, all sorts of interesting indie alternatives that were coming out, you know. So I feel like we're moving into that again, because everything's cyclical, everything moves in cycles, and corporate comics are dying as it are the sort of powerhouse, movie industries that have been supporting them. The superhero movies and all that are becoming less and less interesting and relevant because it's the same old formulaic stuff. So the truly interesting stuff is coming out in the 80s, you know, and my advice would be create it, do it yourself. Obviously have a quality filter, you know, just don't be firing out any old tap, but, you know, just create interesting stuff. And it will be at your own expense, unfortunately, but if you want to create art, sometimes you have to put a lot of yourself into it, and that includes your money. So, get your stuff out there, and I'm not going to say everyone's going to be the next Kevin Eastman and Peter Lard, but, you know, you will personally feel more fulfilled for having done it than having left it on the shelf.